Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. If I'm playing my cards right, it's actually Sunday, July 7th, around 3:45 p.m. Pacific. It's a normal Sunday news. That's actually not true. It's like Tuesday, June 18th. But hey, I'm about to hop on a plane tomorrow for Japan, as folks know. So I'm doing my due diligence to make sure that we have a weekly show for you. And so right now, today, I'm super honored to have a good friend of mine who I just realized today, man, it's been over 2 decades.
Oh my
since
goodness.
We have known each other.
You can
and
see it
we
by
were
the gray hairs. You can see
Yeah,
it.
we were much younger back then. So this is joizzal. What's going on?
How's it going? It's good to be here. And we've talked a lot about this kind of material and this stuff. So it's good to finally be here in this space with you.
Man, we have spent like a good 20 years of talking about all sorts of nerdy stuff. And then when I say nerdy, it can be like, yes, sci-fi genre, fantasy stuff, but it could be nerding out about music, it could be nerding about politics, history, our culture, everything, right? Teaching. We're both educators, multifaceted geeks. So I'm glad you can join. I like kind of put in the title like, oh, my friend IRL, because after my brother, you're the second person that I've known in real life that hasn't yet fully seen this whole Brick Something thing. And I like it. It switches up the dynamic a little bit. Most of the folks that I bring on are folks who have other channels or have been doing stuff and are super like deeply immersed in the nerdy stuff as I am, like a bit too much, admittedly. And now I know, you pay attention to all sorts of stuff, movies. I remember you and I, we used to, was it Dark Horizons? Is that still around?
Is that even still a webpage?
I don't know. That just made me realize, man, I'm feeling old. And then it was like IO9 for the longest time, just sort of checking that and then talking about what we saw there. Roughly during the pandemic and lockdown, right? Like many people, I started watching a lot of YouTube, doing searches for like stuff to like, oh, take me back, help me feel better. So it was like toys and like, oh, He-Man, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and then movie stuff too. And so I went down that rabbit hole. And then it was like, oh, wait, there's like some new He-Man toys coming out. Maybe I should just sort of buy one, right? And my main thing was this, right?
For a long time.
And I'd go to your house. I know you even got deeper into the Lego thing. You had some, but then went a little bit deeper during the lockdown too. Didn't like that didn't exist. That didn't exist before the lockdown.
No. A lot more time.
When we met, you were living in South of Market in the city,
Downtown
San Francisco.
That's right.
And I remember walking in your place for a party once, and just it was either your room or the other dudes. It is your room with all the inbox McFarlane stuff.
Todd McFarlane. It was The Matrix. There was the NECA release of the TMNT with the red masks.
That was way back.
That was way back.
Because I don't remember clocking those till you were in Daly City. Okay.
No, I had those for a while.
Oh, those are gorgeous.
I've had the G1 re-releases of the Transformers when they came out. Was waiting in line at Toys R Us back when Toys R Us used to open at midnight.
You mean back when Toys R Us existed?
Yeah.
Yep.
Back when Toys R Us existed. Yeah, well, I was already pretty heavy in collecting very specialized type of toy lines. But
yeah, there was a time period where I'd go to your place and look at action figures because I wasn't getting figures at that time. I was like, oh man, this is like a whole other level though of my like just crazy deep rabbit hole. It's definitely like a lot of the stuff that you and I loved, and then I just discovered all sorts of like craziness. What I'm referring to is intense levels of toy productions, toy producers everywhere, all sorts of innovative like next level stuff. Not just, definitely articulation, engineering, all that stuff, sculpting, painting, the way we buy toys now of like pre-ordering when something is announced on a stream, and then you wait a year plus, and then eventually it shows up. Like it's, you mentioned going to Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Nah, you go to Target and you're like lucky if you see anything there, right?
True.
Like I know you and I both haunt the same Colma, Daly City, Tanforan circle of Targets, and it's like even when I wasn't collecting, it was the same thing, right? It was just I gotta pass by here real quick just to look. 10 years ago, stuff would pop up. I was like, oh, that's cool. Nowadays, it's like it's a weird trickle. They're figure lines that you're lucky if even they ever show up. So I wanted to bring you on and maybe show you some of the stuff, find a way to kind of give you a quick glimpse into what's out there, and then also do some newsy type stuff. But before that, this is where I normally say hello to the chat. So hello, chat. I have no idea who's here, but if you're here, you're awesome. Thank you. And thank you to the replay crew. Usually I will tell people that during the live stream, my buddy Thanos, the Thanos Copter, will be putting in the links to the stuff that we're looking at in the live chat. But since this is happening as a pre-recorded premiere, I'll actually probably be watching this and typing and chatting from Japan when it airs. Thanos might be here as well. But if you're catching this on the replay, in a little bit, you'll see mentioned down here about a QR code and a URL, bit.ly/Brick Something News, capital B, capital S, capital News. And that'll take you to a document where I have all the links listed. If you want to follow along, if you're like, where do I order that? Or I want to see that image that he showed. I want to click through myself. Or I want to, even better, DM the person who he showed to get to know them or whatever. Please do that. That's what this is about. To help if you're like super fancy over by joizzal's shoulder there's a little QR code. Okay, so that's that.
There you go.
There. All right. So this is now the part where we go.
Whoa.
Okay. Sorry, I've been practicing my my Jean Grey-isms. I came to your place earlier to kind of like help you set up and stuff, and you had a haul. You had a haul. What us nerds call a haul. Actually, before that, let me just sort of show folks what's behind you here. All right. So this is the stuff that's behind you, as we were saying, didn't exist, or at least wasn't placed up like that, right? And then you've also got the body massage.
Body massage machine.
I feel like there was a period. Yeah, there was a period where that was like every 5 minutes that was coming out of your mouth, or some version of what is it on the computer. But,
stop your downloading.
This is what it is, right? We're big dorks, but like all those nerdy references are now being captured in plastic. So like the Lego, right? The Star Wars that we love, whether it was like original trilogy, prequel trilogy, like it's all there. Like I see some Clone Wars there, I see some Rebels, but yeah, it's all there. Like sequel trilogy, and then memes, right? We got to the era of the memes that were funny, because for me that was my childhood, and like your like real early childhood, right? Or was the G.I. Joe cartoon still around when you were watching?
It was. I was probably watching the reruns at that point. I mean, you probably watched them when they first were released, right? I would assume.
Yeah, totally. The first 5-episode miniseries, Weather Dominator, and all that kind of stuff. But then this was like the internet's answer to that, right? This was like the beginning of meme culture, taking the old videos.
I would even say it was probably even memes before memes were designated as memes.
Yep. Those came out a couple years ago, not that long ago, like Super7 reactions, like just turning it into a thing since they have the G.I. Joe license. This is your thing, right?
It's been my thing for a while. I've kind of slowed down over the years, but this is my last major kind of Transformers purchase. I never would have thought Lego would have kind of acquired that IP. And to have that happen, I don't know if you saw, not too long ago, they're planning on releasing the Bumblebee at scale too. He's going to be much smaller than Prime, obviously.
It occurred to me, you didn't unbox the other one, right? You have 2 copies of this, right?
Fun story. I don't know if you remember having this conversation, but we had the dilemma, right? Which is a good dilemma to have, which is like, hey, we're gonna get to see the guy. We're gonna get to see Peter Cullen. And we're
Yeah.
gonna get to have him autograph this Lego set.
Real quick,
And
that
then,
was a year ago almost in August.
that's
We
right.
went up to Sacramento. We're like in the San
Mhm.
Francisco area, basically. Went up to
Mhm.
Sacramento, about 2 hours away, to a toy show because Peter Cullen and what's the other guy? Megatron? Welker. They were both there. But okay, so based on that,
Yeah.
continue.
Right before that trip, I was like, "Hey, I have this set already. I
Mhm.
want to get this autograph. It's one of my bucket list items, obviously, being a big Transformers fan, but I also want to build it." And that was really the big question I had for you, and you were just really cut and dry. You're like, "You know the answer,
Can't open
man.
it. Yeah,
You
you can.
cannot open it. You're
Yeah.
gonna have
Oh,
to fulfill
okay.
one for the building
Got
fix
it. Okay,
and
good.
one to keep up there somewhere in a safe."
Sorry.
And
Okay,
so,
so
yeah,
what you're saying is I enabled you to buy a second one.
absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
got it.
Put that on
Cool.
file, put that on record.
Okay.
This guy.
So, folks, I was doing that in real life as well, telling people to buy things. Got it. That makes sense. So this is the one you bought
Yeah,
and built, and you have a sealed one with Peter Cullen's signature.
that's right. And whatever type of process we went through to get it notarized. Remember that?
While we're talking about Peter Cullen, that was a big deal to you, and I know it was a big deal to you. I saw you, and I knew you were feeling it. But
Thank
also,
God for not showing that video, by the way.
this is my wife's favorite memory. Do you remember when we all went to see the first Transformers movie?
Yes, I did. The Michael
I'm
Bay,
Yes.
release.
Okay.
Was it the Metron?
Yes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, you're gonna have
No?
to keep going.
Okay, well, I'll share, and no
Surprise me.
shame because it's all good.
It's all good.
You broke down the first time Optimus transforms and speaks.
And it has
Like,
that sound, that trademark sound. You gotta remember the
yep.
trademark
No,
sound that came with
100%.
it.
It's Pavlovian. Like
Woo!
it was in our brains. No, I totally
Yeah,
get it. And that's
yeah.
when I said this is your thing. Like not just the toy, not just the Lego, but like Transformers as a property is firmly like rooted in your childhood, and this was the thing.
This was a
So
thing, yeah.
beautiful stuff. Keep going. I don't know what else I caught in here. Oh, I guess the other some of the other things that you collect that I've always known you to collect were these
Oh,
guys, right?
yeah. Cowabunga, dude. Yeah, so those were the 2 things I think I remember growing up with. So if we think about the pockets of nostalgia, that it's like,
Mhm.
it's always gonna be something that is rad in your heart, I think it's
Yep.
gonna be those 2 things for me, my generation.
As you know, because I know you've been following it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is still a thing, and that's an understatement. There's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, everything. Every toy company, it seems like we joke all the time. If you're a toy company, you get a Ninja Turtles license. And
That's
like
right,
everybody,
that's right.
stuff out of Japan, Heat Boys are doing
Mhm,
like transforming anime inspired mecha. There's,
mhm,
of
mhm.
course, NECA doing their thing, but in different versions of things, like the more Mirage cartoon stuff. And then this stuff that you see are the NECA movie
Like,
stuff. These are older
movie.
ones, yeah?
Yeah, these have been around for a while. This
Uh-huh.
is obviously modeled after that first movie, that first live action movie that was super dark, and everyone's like, "What
Yep.
is this?" And then just progressively got more lighthearted as the series went on. Um,
Yep.
I've always I've always had a soft spot in my heart for this first movie. It's rough around the edges, but I think that's what makes it what it is. And
Hmm.
so if you notice, like a lot of turtles, like they look pretty menacing, right? Compared to like the facial features and kind of like the face modeling looking totally different in that second
They're
movie.
very creature shop and less smiley. Like they
Yes.
smile and they do the goofiness, but there is at first, especially when they first show up, it's a little yeah, it can be scary because
Yeah.
you earlier you were showing me you got a like a Last Ronin, so you're still picking stuff up every now and then.
Every now and then I've slowed down kind of
Uh-huh.
tremendously.
Yeah,
When you have 2 kids and gotta feed their mouths, you gotta
totally.
kind
What's
of
my excuse
prioritize.
though?
That's another show that we're gonna
Yeah,
talk
that's true.
about later. I mean,
Yeah, that's the intervention show. But let's not talk there yet. Because you
Yeah.
say that you don't, collect much, but when I showed up to your house, this was in the garage. This is the hall. What the hell is going on, dude? This is your new hoopty. What's
This is the hoopty.
This is awesome. When I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I gotta film this thing. Tell the story. Who's this for? This is for you, right? You run down the block.
Yeah, so this is not for me. I think I'll break it now with my dad bod, my dad physique. This is a collector's dream come true. I've always looked at this from afar. I never thought I would ever be in possession of one of these. And I knew that if it were ever to come about and I would have the opportunity, I'd probably have to pay a pretty penny, that collector's fee to be able to get something like this. And so, it was never in the playbooks for me.
Yeah.
But I think it does pay to have a community of nerd
Nerds.
friends. A community of friends who are nerds, who are like-minded, who love the same stuff. And to be a good person on top of that. Shout out to Braulio Cagle. And he's a childhood friend of mine. I've known him since high school, when I used to go to Mission High School in San Francisco.
Nice.
Yeah. And we both have kids. We both are raising families. But deep down inside, when we connect, it always comes back to things like Star Wars and nerd stuff and video games and even, like a phase of new metal that we were listening to at the time, like that kind of stuff. And so one day, and one day he just gave me a phone call and he was like, hey, would you be interested in something like this? What do you have in mind? And then he showed me a picture of it, and immediately I was like, I don't care. Is it broken? Whatever. Yes. Please park it into my driveway. And the only stipulation is that the battery needed to be kind of replaced. Their kid wasn't too privy with it. And they knew that my kids, I don't know if you know, out there in the internets, my two children are named after Star Wars characters. And so my daughter's name, she's the oldest. Her name is Kylea Ray Trung Vargas, not Ray as in royalty, but Ray as in the Jedi who beats the clone Palpatine's ass at the end of the last movie. And my son, who turned 2 in February, his name is Ezra. And so
nice.
And so it was a gift. Cool. It was a gift
That's
the most nicest thing a person has ever given me and my family. So
what's great is that I'm glad you added "and my family" because we're talking about it's like, oh, it's great. Oh yeah, no, it's not mine, it's the kids.
Yeah.
It's awesome. In real life, I was like looking at this thing. It's like, oh, it's cool. It's like even the weathering and stuff. It's a cool thing for a kid's like ride along toy. It's cool looking, man. It's classic, Tatooine speeder. I dig it. And I got to see said Kylea Ray, multiple Jedi kid driving around in the garage earlier. It was really cool. Let's go ahead and move into sort of the show proper, and let's talk about what was seen. So a couple of months back, I shared this. I don't even remember who the host was. It might have been Renders Effects, and I was just sharing this art toy that I came across. The evolution of the art toy, which really had we were ground zero in many ways for that here in San Francisco. Whether it was like, of course, Super7 and what is it, Kid Robot and Giant Robot when it was still around in the hate. There was another store over by oh gosh, what's that place in North Beach that I used to go to that I bought a couple toys from. I forget what it was called, but there was just like a series, and of course Fabricate, which is now Luna Rayan Gallery in the Mission, still around. But that was like the different spots, right? You go check out art toys and check out art shows, and there were all sorts of creators around all the time, and these real like sort of boutique toy objects, whether it's like Sofubi or more articulated stuff like this. So this comes out of that DNA. I want to say that it might have some connection to 3A, but I haven't looked it up myself. I thought I heard someone say that, so I'm just sort of, I might be passing on bad information. But I don't know if you remember 3A. They used to have like 3.0 stuff. Just like it was an art toy thing. Anyways, this is their series called Wasteland, where they take pop cultural icons and turn them into these sort of like very
Wow.
what is it? The atomic. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? The little kid, Japanese classic manga. Atom Boy.
Atom Boy.
Is that right? God, why does that sound weird to me? Anyway, I think that's it. Anyway,
Astro Boy.
Astro Boy. Thank you. With the little atomic symbol. Duh. With Astro Boy, very Astro Boy style, like little tiny kid, cute as hell robot.
Cutesy.
Yeah, but in this case, clearly this is a new release that's coming out June 20th. That's in 2 days from when we're recording this, but obviously that's in the past. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like close to sold out, if completely sold out by now. These are smaller run toys coming out of Asia that are then distributed to a couple different resellers around the world. And I'll talk about where you can get them in the US in a second, at least to check it out or look at it. But this is clearly their Ronald McDonald. I think they're calling him the Wasteland Crazy Clown Mac. There's kind of a
that's definitely Astro Boy. Look at that face.
There's definitely a
oh, that's so cool.
Apocalyptic vibe to it too. So it's got the Astro Boy vibe with like the rivets too added to it, which just looks kind of cool. A lot of weathering, kind of like your little speeder there. Imagine putting this guy in your speeder. Sitting in the back behind Kyle when she's driving. But yeah, this thing is big. It's like a 10-inch figure, if I remember correctly. Fully posable. The soft goods, the outfit, dude, on point.
Is that fabric?
That's fabric.
That metal. Yeah. Oh,
goodness. So this is soft goods here, and then the stuff that looks like metal is plastic. I don't know if they actually use any metal in the fabrication or not. Likely, this is all plastic and just gorgeous painting, right? You've got like a Happy Meal, old school Happy Meal box for a backpack. And let me show you one other. Let's see. Yeah, and the face comes out and you can kind of see what's going on underneath. The body is pretty movable. It's got an armature underneath. It's cool.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. Here's the info. So it releases it goes up for pre-order or for sale on June 9th from the We Art Doing folks. Definitely go check them out. Oh, sorry, it's 8 inches, so 8 inches tall, limited to 500 sets. Or $4.99. There you go. There's the material, all plastic, no metal. And it doesn't ship until next year in March. And this is all the kind of stuff that it comes with, including a burger bomb, which I don't think I've seen in any of these pics. But I don't know. Any thoughts as I get?
Yeah, I'm just when you talk about toys are taking it to a new level, I think I'm looking at this and I'm absolutely floored by the layer of detail, right? I mean, back then you're talking about a lot of those same shop fronts. It was just it was already mind-blowing in itself to think about how pop culture would be infused into like these different kind of custom like figures, right, that we would find at these stores you mentioned. Here we're looking at that, obviously that's at the base, at the core of things. But man, we're looking at a plastic figure that has all the wear and tear of what you would find in that metal, and that in itself is jaw-dropping to me. I mentioned what is that fabric because we're looking at this multimedia approach of having, obviously fabric to represent the clothing, kind of in contrast with the metal. Like it's such a beautiful piece of work. And I would not imagine anything like this in kind of those earlier stages of going into those shops. And
No,
again,
it's like
don't get me
I think
wrong,
they
this
wanted to
the
get here.
stuff is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And just over time, I think,
Yeah.
the game gets upped, right? Yeah, no, I think that yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah,
No, no.
check out
No, I think
the tailoring and
yeah.
everything, dude. Like that,
The stitching, like
having a sewing background. That's not just, oh, here's the pant. There's one, two,
yeah.
three, probably 4 panels just to get around the leg, and then multiple
Yeah.
panels for this. So it's like really, there's a lot going on. Then you got the different material for like that, cotton Ronald McDonald shirt. Good
Right.
stuff. And then again, recontextualizing, sorry, I can get all nerdy, but like the pop culture icon in this like mix
Mhm.
of style with like manga, robots, sci-fi. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's just cool. Look at that. Oh,
Steampunk. It's definitely
mhm.
feels steampunk to me.
Yep, very
Um,
much. But
man.
this isn't the only one actually. Check it out. They're also on the 20th. There's a somewhat of a repaint and reuse,
Oh.
but a little different, right? So you've got another crazy clown, but this is the Wasteland Crazy Clown Joker. So
Wow.
different hair, right? To kind of go
Mhm.
more with the Joker, different backpack to fill in with that character, DC. I love this, which is very New York City, right? New York City
Yeah,
subway.
yeah. J
Um,
Train.
check it out, man. Oh, it's so good. It's still
Woo.
using the basic backpack with like additional parts. Clever stuff, man. I just like I'm intrigued by this stuff of like, yeah, it's one thing to be like, I have a DC license, so I'm doing Joker figures. It's another thing
Yeah.
to be like, I'm creating this character, but I'm gonna, I wanna reference those pop cultural things because everyone knows them and just like, I don't know. And the poses too is just so cool, so expressive.
It's crazy how you could obviously look at the form of that backpack. It still has that like McDonald's
Yep.
Happy Meal kind of form.
Hmm.
But just based on just the paint alone, and going back to that rear image of the backpack, that looks to me like Arkham Asylum.
Ah, okay.
That's Arkham Asylum. Like if you're
Which
playing any
one?
of the Arkham video games with
Uh-huh.
Batman kind of trapped in Arkham Asylum and you're solving puzzles or whatever, like it's looking a lot like that
Oh,
just based on the coloring.
yeah, I definitely didn't play. That's definitely one thing where you were up on in terms of like next gen gaming, man.
Oh yeah.
Um, and yeah, I never got to play Arkham. I just remember everybody was like had that power of the force steroids kick where everyone was buff.
Yeah.
Um, but no, this definitely looks cool, and you're right. I mean, and that's a thing. That's what I've come to realize as an old person, and a lot of my peers need to figure out
Yeah.
is that we have this vision of what Batman's supposed to look like, or Star Wars is supposed to be.
Mhm.
And I know people who are like, "Oh, what's that?" I was kind of joking around Batman being buff, but like for all intent and purpose, there are people who like that is their Batman. When they think of Batman, they think
Mm,
of Arkham, right?
mm.
The game, or maybe the newer the Batman movie, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
that's their Batman to them, and I forget sometimes that like and it's easy to get in that mode of like, no, it's not the real Batman, like that's garbage thinking, but that happens, right? And you forget like, no,
Yeah.
time passes, and like this stuff gets introduced to new people. So this idea of like this kind of like mashup might to
Mhm.
an older person be like me, like, oh, that's novel. What a weird twist of things. Where to other people, it's just like, oh yeah, this is just what we do. We just mix everything now, and like it's very much an internet
Mhm.
age kind of thing. Anyway, I think this is cool. But what would this be missing if we have a Ronald McDonald? Now we have a Joker. What else would they need? What would go with
Mm.
a
Clown theme?
not necessarily. These two are together. This is often how they do it. They'll have like a buck, like a basic figure, and then repaint it, and then they'll actually have two bucks. So they'll have one that's painted twice, and then they have another one. What would be a good companion piece for this guy?
If we're looking okay, I'm gonna wear my English teacher hat now. So if we're
Yeah.
looking at that, I would think, a foil type of
Sure.
character
Yep.
who would
Yep.
be in contrast
First,
to
outer,
these
inner,
characters.
last, right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yo, the wrong school of thought. But yeah, um, I'm talking about. Are we talking about Batman here?
See, now, yeah, I was gonna say, don't put on your foil hat, put on your detective cap, because you are absolutely correct.
Ooh,
They
world's
got the
greatest
Wasteland,
detective.
Dark Knight,
Man,
Blue. Well done. Didn't mean to put you on the spot there,
man.
but you aced it. You understood the assignment, dude.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's a
Wow, that's
Batman,
amazing.
but like it's very kiddish, very robot, but like that helmet is so cool. It's a little
Yeah, yeah,
Batmite
yeah.
too, but like man, he looks cool with especially with the lenses being like headlights, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Clean.
And a
Yeah, no,
really vintage headlight too, like, you know, coming from
yep,
like an
totally.
Oldsmobile or something.
Yep. The hands are so cool, all the soft goods.
Oh,
And again, it's just clever how there you go, bad boy.
there
Not
you
to be confused. It's bad boy. Uh it's the bad boy. Look
Bud
at his
boy.
kicks. He's got like the bat logo on the side there where the swoosh or the three
Wow.
lines would be. Yeah, man,
We
it's
got
cool
that
stuff.
jumpsuit yet again. Look how many panels, look how much stitching is being
Yep.
committed to those
Yep.
pants.
Yeah, they don't mess around, like, and, you know, we haven't even talked price, but we'll get there. But the value,
Mm,
I'll just say the value is there. It's there, like, and it's cool
it
because
is.
it's
It
yes, it's
is.
a Batman. Oh, cool, he has, like, a jaw. He's got the backpack, jetpack thing. It's like a mix of almost like pulling from you said Arkham for the Joker. I'm thinking, what is it, Gotham by Gaslight?
Mhm.
Um, definitely steampunk. Oh god, that looks so good. And of course, like I can't help it, but like again with the Gotham by Gaslight vibe of like because that was Mike Mignola, right? Or
Mhm.
Mignola.
Mhm.
Um Hellboy with the big old hands, right?
That's right, yeah.
You see a little bit of that in there. But of course, you know, it's Batman and like Batman. You can't have make a Batman toy without like coloring them like a million ways.
Okay.
th- so this is the Dark Knight. What do they call it? Dark Knight Black. Um, yeah, same thing. This
Wow.
one's a little more straightforward, right? And yeah, this is gonna be like an easy sell. If you're like a Batman person, you choose I
Sure.
want blue, I want black. Um, again, black and red, which um not necessarily what many people think of, but if you've watched the latest patents in the Batman, it's very
Right.
much that, right? It
What appeals to you more right off the bat? If you give me an honest, like,
blue
what
this one
pulls you
versus blue,
versus the blue?
black versus blue. I actually think I go blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go classic vintage blue. I just think
So much character.
yeah, the colors just like stands out so much. Black looks great though. Um I will say when I saw these, man, I regretted it so much because there are older figures. So these are part of a line. So
Oh,
if you're for the folks who are watching, another just great shot. So it does say to DM the we are doing directly to figure out like, you know, who's selling it. Oh, I forgot to
mm.
say this. I should just mention there is a light in the head in the Batman one, which is kind of cool. So they actually light through the eyes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, so the place that I know of in the United States is Evil Toys Lair, or Evil Toy Lair, sorry, and they're up in the Pacific Northwest, and they'll ship and everything.
Okay.
But this is where I first, when I first learned about them, I was like hunting them down because there was one that I wanted. So just give you a sense of what's here. You've got a Wasteland Plumber Green, a Wasteland Plumber Red,
Okay.
a Wasteland Flash Boy, and then Flash Boy Yellow and Blue. So it was like a Sonic and a Mario and a Luigi. So similarly,
That's
these
right.
two
That's
figures
right.
came out at the same time. Again, repaint, and then another figure. And then
Yeah.
this is way back. This is before I knew about them. They actually did a Nuclear Boy versus an Astro Boy. This is the one that
Ah,
I wish I got this one. I think he's just so cool. There's a Mickey and an Astro Boy, which I think is a great combination. This is the one in particular that I
mhm.
wanted. By the time I knew about it, this guy was still available, and it had been a while. So it's not like they necessarily get bought up right away. Um, but yeah, but this was the colorway that I wanted. And yeah, I won't go
I love
into it. If
that.
you want to see that, check out the older show with Renders FX where I talk more about that. You can see better shots of it, or check it out yourself using the URL down at the bottom. Okay.
Ooh.
So that's the more newsy item, and just kind of want to give you a sense of like how boutique and artsy things can get, but still like pulling on the stuff that we grew up with, like Mario, Sonic, Ronald McDonald, Batman, Joker, classics, right? And then Astro Boy and Mickey. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about like my jam right now, which is 1/12 scale, roughly 1/12 scale. I kind of go sometimes up to 110. So it's the 6-inch, 6.5, 7-inch figures, right?
Very
And
cool.
right now, those other ones definitely are more in the art toy realm. I still think what you're about to see are very like clearly art. These are, I'm gonna sort of share a dope toy photographer, Jason Michael, who's on Instagram as Jason B. Michael, and just show you a couple shots because I figured, oh, this is a good way to kind of talk about some of the newer lines that you may or may not be familiar with, and just to give you a sense of like what they can do. Because right away, like those turtles that you got are dope in the window, but they can't quite strike these poses that these can. And then you should see what comes with this. So this is a set that came out, got in people's hands just a couple months back. And I remember when it came out, people were like, what? You know, we don't need that. There's so many turtles right now. It's too expensive for the set of 4. And, you know, there's a people are talking about, are they just reuse, whatever. And then these things came out and people are like, damn, I wish I got those. And, you know, like by that time you're hitting aftermarket way more than $400 paying for people, like upwards of 700, 800. So, but they're beautiful. So this is by Mezco. And then they're next to a mixed in with, this is not even a actual Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure technically. It's a gray area unlicensed version of something that looks very similar to what's his name? Killer Croc? No, that's Batman. What was this guy's? Do you remember this guy?
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
That's okay. I'm
Wasn't
not
he
a
in
huge
Mutant Mayhem?
guy. He was, but I don't remember him. So sorry, folks, and that's fine. We can't know and love all the things, but so it's named up. It's heavily inspired by that character, but it's its own toy line by a company called Maestro Union. And they kind of have their own line. Technically, this is a character that looks like this crocodile in a line called Fury Planet. Kind of mixes like Kung Fu anthropomorphized animals with like everything. It's not even Kung Fu. It's like ninjutsu. And I think there's like dudes with guns and knives and like everything. And they're just like,
wow.
You know. So, but this guy, this photographer, man, Jason B. Michael, is just like, all right, I'm going to take these toys, put them in a setup. And yeah, here it is. Normally they'll like show the slide through so you can kind of see how it's done, but not so much in this one. Quick reactions to what you're seeing? Figures?
Wow. Yeah. And I think that we have like the design of toys as one thing, and then this is kind of like a whole different type of game, and it's about kind of like capturing and making these toys look alive.
Hell yeah.
So I'm looking at it and it's like, man, there's that water, and I'm looking at it, I was like, man, like that in itself is super impressive.
Yeah.
You know, because you could only do so much with kind of just a kind of a freeze frame, but to see like an image where you can actually see the water moving, you can see the water splash around. Man, this guy's got some skills for sure. And I see what you mean, right? You're looking at these turtles and they're a lot more stylized, right? They're a lot more stylized. They have these really like exaggerated kind of faces, but you can see like based on the joint articulation, like I know exactly what you mean in regards to being able to do poses and moves. They that you just can't have with these realistic figures, right? They look
Yep.
real, they look awesome. You can pose them on the wall. But to be able to do stuff like this, you're going to need a different level of a toy, I think.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm seeing. You said Mezco, right?
Yeah. These are the turtles are Mezco.
Yeah.
Here, and I'll actually go
I've
back
heard a lot
here.
about
Oh,
Mezco
that's not the Mezco.
recently.
Why is that?
Oh, just they're doing a lot of really amazing stuff.
Okay. I didn't
We
know if there was
talked
anything in
briefly
particular.
about one of the things I'm slowly getting into, especially after all of the material that's been released with Godzilla. Getting into the NECA kind of collecting with Godzilla, but I know Mezco's got some really amazing stuff with Godzilla. So it's like, I know this toy line is going to be doing some damage. So it's I love the high quality toy. It takes a particular type of toy to be able to kind of articulate in these ways.
Yep.
And then just the photography, man. It's I think another direction I've always wanted to take my toys is how do I take them from like, hey, here are my toys on a windowsill
Sure.
versus, man, if I were to like up the game, I think my next step would probably be on some diorama stuff. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
seeing kind of where that's at, that's
Mm-hmm.
really cool. I
Yeah.
love
These are
that.
the Mezcos.
Wow.
So these are the figures that
Yes.
are in that thing. $400 for the set, and I remember people being like, "Oh," and I remember thinking because I don't have any turtle rep on my shelf yet, except for one splinter.
Uh-huh.
And I've been picking and choosing, and I thought about this one. I was like, "Oh," and it worked for me because Mezcos tend to run a little bit smaller than most of the stuff I have, but they're turtles. So it's like in my head, I could see that they'd be a little bit more small, but I went a different direction. I, like many people, said, "Nah, not this one." It's $400, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh man," but it's $100 a figure, and if you look at some of these figures, like that's not bad, especially for everything that you get. Yes, you get the figures. Yes, you get a bunch of soft goods. You get this.
Oh
You get the
wow.
classic like detective gear that they have. So, and then of course like the the nunchaku in motion,
Like a
and
spinning action. That's really cool.
got this dope little orange hoodie. It came up with a bunch of stuff. And then at first I remember people being like, I don't know. They stress that like, no, these are not repaints. Each one is a unique sculpt. Get all these heads.
Oh, they come the heads too.
So it's meant for
Eh,
photographers like this to capture
Yeah.
like scenes and stuff, Anyway, so that's just a sense. We don't need to rehash that. I just wanted to give you a sense, but yeah, that's not what you're getting it for now. Um, and then this is that Fury planet Wilderness Hunter Crocker, which is like,
Oof.
yeah, he's cool.
See.
You can see them stressing the movement. I've heard folks say that like, oh yeah, I wish he was a little bit more movable, but still like, and then all of the options to like,
Wow.
undress him, do the different outfits. There have been variants made. So
Wow.
anyway, that's just the beginning. We should move.
Oh my
Then there's
goodness.
this one, which accidentally showed up ahead of time, but why are you so serious?
Want to see a magic trick?
Right. This is in art. So remember when you and I got to go to a comic SDCC once. It was 2008.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time looking at those sideshow booth, right?
Mhm.
And it was all about like those at the time, which eventually became like Hot Toys. Now this is all in that 12-inch scale, 1/6. There's a newer company called, what is it, Queen something, but the name of the line is Inart, INART. And of course, Jason Michael again with the photography, man. Look at the lighting, just
Mhm.
perfect in the cell. And then he showing off.
Oh.
Usually 1/6 figures aren't super posable. Yeah, like a little bit. Some of the stuff you're like, oh, that looks a little weird, but still, like most 1/6 isn't super
Yeah.
posable. So
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
look at these, I'm like, okay, does a great job with the cards, and look at the hair too, the rooted hair. And here,
Ooh,
there's an
man.
example of where he gives us a peek behind the camera. Cool stuff. And then, you just got the
Wow.
wires in there to hold it together,
Sure.
hold the pose, and then Photoshop those out.
And then you make the magic after that.
Mask the window
That's
and everything. Cool stuff, man. Anyway, yeah, like next level, you get a sense of it. And it's not even just the toys, right? The toy game of this.
Yeah.
Like now that we have the internet and things like Instagram that people can easily kind of look at this stuff and follow it and pay attention to it, it's people now have a platform
Yeah.
to share this stuff. Big back in the day, it was like you do it and it's like, oh, that's cool. People knew about it, or you'd maybe find a gallery or something. Now it's
Yeah.
like, no, everybody can kind of see it. And yeah, so that's pushed the game where it's at.
What's really interesting too is that you mentioned like being able to have a gallery. Like I don't think we've even reached that level of being able to be like, hey, let's I want to go to that toy museum. You know,
Yeah,
like I'm
that's
thinking
my
of a
personal dream.
grand scale. It's like we know this stuff is such a big thing for so many of
Mhm.
us, right? And to not necessarily have it in this grand scale where we can go to this go-to spot and place and be able to see like toys from different generations. I mean,
Hell
you'll be
yeah.
able to see it in like small scale toy stores, right? Collector
Yeah.
toy stores.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily on this like I'm gonna go to a museum today and see it.
No.
So
That is one of my dreams. Have I talked to you about that, or you're just thinking about that? I don't know if I've ever
I think
mentioned
we've
it.
chatted in
Okay.
passing before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the Mopop up in Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
the
Pacific
Museum of Pop
Nostalgia.
Culture.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's my dream, is to get something like that, and I'd love to see a museum of toy culture, and just like where
Mm-hmm.
like the full on exhibit of the history, and then show you a bunch of stuff, have the designers talk about their stuff, and interactive, how to make a toy, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't mind putting it out there. I don't care. I don't have to be the one to do it. If somebody else does it or other people do it, please do it, and I'll just go there. So
There you go. Yeah.
anyway, this thing is dope. That's 1/6. Like that game is changing. Obviously, the soft goods are crazy. Like I said, Queen Studios, that's what it is. Yeah, man, it's like a tailor, like little tiny tailors are like designing that suit. And it's like, multiple pieces. You got the shirt, the tie, the vest, and it all just hangs real well. Like sometimes it's like old soft goods, like looks oversized and weird, and the stitching is too
Sure.
big. You still get a
Yeah.
little bit of that sometimes, but nah, man, it's like a whole other game. And that, like, you blink and like, no, that's a still, or that's a promo shot, or a, costume
Yeah.
test.
Wow.
Amazing, right?
And how
Ugh,
small it is. It's crazy.
this product is not available in my country. I don't even know how much these are, and that's kind of not really the point of this right now, but just wanted to introduce this to you and other folks, and let's move on, because every Joker needs a
Oh.
Batman, as we learned from the Wasteland.
I know what the
So
aesthetic that's
this
going with. Yeah.
was that?
That's Batman animated series, it has to be, right?
Yep,
That's where it's going.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's so this is is it a Mezco? Yeah, it's a Mezco again Batman, but with custom heads. The whole other game of like, yeah, the Mezcos are dope. The toy photographers are like, really like taking the game to this whole other place to display and
Look
promote,
at
really.
that.
But
Nice.
check it out, the heads. So that's a all black head to get that sort of shadow. There's this, and then there's this. These are actually customizers. A small group of people who called Drone. Was it Drone Customs? I think I'll get it. Oh,
Mhm.
Drone Custom Figures right here. But yeah, they're the ones who like made these custom heads, because they're like, nah, if we're gonna do Batman animated, we want to do it right. They weren't quite
Oh.
maybe satisfied with the heads elsewhere, so they did their own, and so you can kind of see the photo setup again, cool backdrop,
Mm.
um, and then just the photo work is on point. Um, and again, because you're getting multiple expressions and heads, it's perfect for
Mm.
photographers, right? They can really do multiple scenes and get the expression that they want.
Right.
Gorgeous wired soft goods, so you can sculpt that, and so now your clothes are articulated, simulate the wind and stuff.
Right. And that
And I don't
comes
know
stock? The
the
wired cape?
yep, dude.
Woo!
It's I accept the cookies already, Mezco. So again, here's the Mezco. This is the original, and it wasn't meant to be an animated figure, right? It was meant to be this sort of
Oh,
more maybe, yeah, I was gonna say golden age. Yeah, that's right there. Duh, golden age Batman. So it's cool. It's great for that, and the actual figure comes with a Bruce Wayne head with a removable cowl, which is cool. Like that's all cool in and of itself. $95, right? And
mm.
then you go in for, and again, don't need to spend too much time because folks can look at that just going through. But here
Oh, yeah.
is,
Yeah.
yep, this is drone custom, like doing their thing, right? It's being like, okay,
See it.
we
Yeah.
want we want to make it, we want to sell this stuff, and they made an animated. They thought this would be a perfect body, just needs the right head. Check that out, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Look at that.
Yeah, so it says here, oh, I might be wrong. I might have shown the wrong figure because it says Mezco recently unveiled their Batman the Animated Series figure. Actually, no, I know what happened, which is super exciting news. And I have received a ton of messages asking about our sculpt, working with it, right? So what it is that was the right figure that I showed you, the Golden Age, but for the photographs before the Batman animated one even came out. So that
Mm.
figure, like even before it came out, they saw the solicitation. There was this customizer who was already making the animated heads and was like, yeah, you could use our heads. Check us out, dude. And then, from that one episode,
Yep.
clean, man, clean. I don't even
Clayface.
know what's going on there, how they're doing that. I don't, yeah. So the game
What?
is like magnets. Oh, that's the other thing, man. People loving magnets these days. It's a magnet that connects that piece.
Oh. So it's not the head.
No, in
It's
this
just the
case, yeah, this
face,
is
bottom part of the
yeah, this is a very import thing with alternate face plates, and I wish more domestic toy companies, U.S. toy companies, would do that more because it gives you so many options, right? That's
Yeah.
how you're able to get this,
Right.
right? Check the eyes, focus on the eyes. That's one head. This is another head with different eyes, but it's all
Yep.
face
Yep.
plates,
Yep.
and then different eyes, but a bunch of different face plates. And now think of all the options you have as a result of that.
Wow.
It's cool stuff, man.
Widens the range.
I just wanted to show this real briefly. I think this almost the last one. I've been really into, like, my collection has been this kind of sword and sorcery meets sci-fi thing, and so
Right.
going back to Conan fighting dinosaurs, this is totally my jam. Again, great stuff. Yet again, this guy clearly loves Mezco, and a lot of photographers do because you can do so much with them, and the sculpts are like on point, so they look great in the
Hmm.
lens. And that's another Mezco there with a Mezco Conan with a football helmet on.
Are
But,
these dinosaurs
playing
also Mezco?
no, the dinosaurs are Hammond collection by Mattel, actually, for Jurassic
Ah,
Park / Jurassic World.
yeah.
Look at all the wire use there that gets cleaned up in Photoshop. But the posing of that, I have this T-Rex, and just like that, splayed out on the floor.
Yeah.
Look is perfect. Just smart choices. Like truly, this stuff is fine art. Like this is great artwork. And
Right.
the use of TVs now in the back, right, as a backdrop. It's like mini volumes in your house, basically, right? The volume.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Great stuff. Here's the figure. This figure is dope, and I wish that I'd gotten him. But I have a newer version of him that's coming out, the sort of King Conan version, but totally captures that Frazetta artwork.
Mhm.
So perfect. But anyway, man, yeah, dope stuff everywhere. And then you got your, this is a thing that you get at Target. So this stuff still
There you go.
exists. Yeah,
See,
but
there
like
is
that
hope at
still
Target.
exists. And
There is
this is actually Mattel's attempt to like make a sort of like somewhat elevated version. So they have like the regular T-Rexes,
Mhm.
and then they have the Hammond collection, which they're kind of selling as their more like prestige label. So definitely a little more I don't know, exploration with materials and articulation. The eyes are like almost like glass, like plastic eyes that feel like glass. You know, softer cheeks and stuff. So this is a cool figure, and you know you can see it in when you zoom in. The paint's on point. Yeah. Anyway, and then they do little ones too. So this is their Hammond collection ones, which look great. They're not quite the same because they're small. You know, there's only so much detail that Mattel is willing to put in.
Yeah.
To these, and I say that I think willing to put in because it's not like it can't be put in. Just real quick, shout out to Creative Beast Studios, who can do some. So it's not like, oh, it's too small. There's only so much you can do. No, that's not true. It's just that, you know, for their production run and their price point, and they do what they can. But this thing, work of art, man.
Wow.
Creative Beast Studio, Beast of the Mesozoic line. It's got, you know, all the articulation, and their whole thing is to like really try and capture the most recent scientific understanding of these things. So anyway. All right, dude. You good?
Really cool. Yeah. Great. Thank you. This is a deep dive. We're coming back up for air now.
Yeah, I know it's a lot, and I hope folks at home are enjoying what they're seeing. There's a couple more shots. I'll go through these a little quicker. I know you're a Marvel guy. Because of the recent movie, Jason's been doing some, you know, Wolverine and Deadpool stuff. I love this. This features again some Mezcos and a bunch of other things. There's a couple of different toy companies going through here, but just quick,
very cool
look, man. And the reason I chose these is because I figured, as you've seen, it's a great way to like look at different toys that are currently on the market and people are collecting. There's some Marvel Legends mixed in here. This is a Mythic Legions horse. Some, I want to say Joe classified, maybe ninjas, or I'm not sure. And then this guy. But as far as the figures, here's your Mezco Deluxe Steel Box Edition Wolverine. I think that one had like an alt head though. But he uses this head in other shots. I think on the horse, who's probably using this head. That's the other thing we didn't talk about is the pop and swap. The you can do a lot of like customizing and in some cases not so much customizing. They'll give you alternate heads, right? So we couldn't do that as kids, right?
Yeah. You'd break the toy.
Yep. That's an option now, and all these like effects pieces, like the slash there. That's stuff that like I
that comes with
in
it
my brain.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And this comes with a deluxe Sentinel, like destroyed Sentinel base that lights up, and then a classic.
Ooh, look at that classic.
Wolverine.
So nice.
And this is where people are like, "Well, that's not an accurate. Like, if you have that head, you can't have that belt buckle." It's like, yeah, okay, dude. You lost the plot. Like, what you're missing is this is cool. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
This Deadpool was in there. Again, just another cool piece and great soft goods, and I'll keep it moving. Hey, we got an appearance by the Jedi. And then, of course, this horse. And I've talked to you about Four Horsemen and Mythic Legions. I freaking love this toy line. And just, you know, the realism. That horse was in that one of his shots. Back to 12-inch. He got a hot toy. So classic Sideshow collectibles. You know, again, limited posability, but he worked with it. And
he did.
This is it right here. It's a cool piece. It's also, it was $300 when you could buy it. So
that's about the price point. That's why I don't own any.
Yeah, but isn't it cool to look at?
It is.
Yeah, gorgeous stuff. Again, next level stuff. Hot Toys is still like indisputably awesome at what they do.
Ooh, Doc
now,
Ock. What?
This will be the last Jason Michael shot before we transition to kind of close out with our closing topic. Doc Ock playing the drums. You and I are both musicians. So joizzal here is also an MC, like, got hip hop in the blood as well as other influences,
Hey.
but hip hop in the blood. Ever since I've known him, he's been,
Right.
he's been on the mic doing his thing.
Mm.
So this is my last transition shot, if you will. And yeah, just dope to see Doc Ock, right, playing music. Okay, music. That was my transition. I keep finding people who are like music heads as well as toy heads, and that was also you, right, and me. There seems to be this like crisscross, this
Right.
inner, and I remember, so I've met a bunch of toy collectors and other toy tubers who are like, yeah, no, I'm in a band, or I was in a band, and I tell them about the band stuff, and it just seems to be a common thing. I don't know why that is. I guess is it just like, is it like a openness to creativity, or I don't know. It's not just like folks like us, like regular folks, but celebrities are, you find like they do these interviews and you
Right.
find out how nerdy they are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were keeping track of, like, I know we're both into Rage Against the Machine, like Tom Morello. Did you follow him when he was like, when more and more he was sharing his like D&D background and these like celebrity
No.
D&D games? Oh no!
Wow.
Oh
Tom
yeah, man.
Morello?
Oh yeah,
Snaps.
huge D&D head, which like makes
That's
sense if you
wild.
think about like, back in the day, like metal, right? These kids who like metal, like, yeah, man, if you like metal, then yeah, you're like the dragon motif, the skeleton motif, the demon
Right.
motif, Led Zeppelin singing about freaking, going to Mordor and stuff, right?
Right. Right.
Kind of goes hand in hand. So yeah, that's a thing, man. This is an article about, 22 celebrities who love Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, folks like Vin Diesel. Sorry for the AI images. That's part of the shtick
Also
of this.
B-boy, by the way.
That's right.
Yep.
He was a b-boy, and
He was a B-boy, by the way.
Toy Connection. He introduced Street Sharks back in the day. I don't know if you know that, and was a voice of one of the characters.
Street Sharks. Nice.
This guy's a huge one. Remember Joe Manganiello, who never got to play that DC, God, what was his name? I forget. Anyway, whatever. Stephen Colbert's a big old nerd. Felicia Day, Deborah Ann Wool from Daredevil, Anderson Cooper. Funny.
Wow.
There you go, dude. Dwayne The Rock. Jon Favreau. Well, there is a connection, though. Do you know the connection between Tom Morello and Jon Favreau?
Were they in a band?
No. But Jon Favreau made a movie and actually put Tom Morello in it. Do you know Tom Morello was in Iron Man?
What? The first
Tom
one?
Morello. The first one, Tom Morello was an extra in the cave scene in.
He was one of the fighters in the desert.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
He totally was. All those dudes play D&D. All those things, and those folks are nerds. He's a big comic book nerd into Iron Man, and like they knew each other through D&D, is my understanding. And they got to talking. Oh, I'm doing Iron Man, and anyway. Segue. Dude's a father. His son is really into guitar. And on June 28th, folks will be able to check out him and his son's music project, Soldiers in the Army of Love, co-written and featuring his son, Roman Morello. We're not the only geek dads. We aren't the only geek dads, man. There's a bunch of geek dads, including Tom Morello.
We're not alone.
Nope. And, just like us, they love the music. They love the nerd stuff. Of course, like Kiss, right? Kiss is actual like comic book characters on the stage making music. Kiss was one of Tom Morello's favorite bands. Kiss technically is our Marvel characters. They had a Marvel comic. As they posted this not too long ago. Check that out, dude. Comment by Z-Trip. Remember Z-Trip?
There you go. Yep.
DJs. Here, real quick. Let's hear a little bit of it. Him and his kid, dude. I don't want to deal with copyright, but that's my dream, to have me and my kids play, right? But they're not super interested in music. Anyway, I just thought it was pretty cool, man. I'm a big Rage fan. I love Tom Morello. Like, I think we're very like-minded on multiple levels, but that's why I kind of wanted to segue a little bit and just kind of close out today with talking a little bit about music and toys. Specifically, since we're here in San Francisco, I got to go back to those reactions behind you, right? With the body massage. Let's talk about Super7. And they're like single-handedly, there are other people. NECA's doing music figures. McFarlane did some back in the day, right? Really statues.
Yeah.
But really for me, I love what Super7's doing with pop culture in general. And Brian Flynn, since I moved here, right, to the Bay in 98, doing the whole graphic design thing, and they were doing a magazine, and he was one of the many magazines I was trying to like do work with and contract with. And then eventually he gets into the whole toy manufacturing thing and toy shop. But I remember talking to him all the time and like being like, wait, you're into hardcore? Like, oh, you're into this band? Like, this is, oh yeah. And it was like, oh, we're totally into this like Star Wars stuff, Japanese toys, anime. And then we talk about punk rock and hardcore and like classic hip hop. So I know him and everybody that he's brought in along the way, they're folks who are just into this stuff. And so now that they're making toys, they're like, they could totally do the easy pick of like, yeah, let's get a Masters Universe license or a Thundercats license. But like, what if we made toys of this stuff, right? Get some Ramones figures. And so these are the reaction lines, which you obviously are familiar with because you've got some on your wall. Totally pulling on that classic Kenner Star Wars vibe, even with the packaging. I just figured you're an MC, right? You're into the hip hop thing, but you also, I know you listen to all sorts of music, as do I. Yeah. What are these just sort of like screams at you as I kind of scroll through?
I mean, boom, right there. Look at that salt and pepper right off the bat, right? I can't help but think of that music video.
Salt and pepper's here, we're in effect.
Yeah. But yeah, having that entire this is deserving of a toy line in its inception. When that music video came out.
Totally.
And how larger than life that this duo was when they came out.
It's funny that you say that, man. That's exactly like it. I remember watching them being like, man, this is like cartoons with cool music, but like real people. Like it was just, yeah, absolutely. The colors, everything, right?
Yeah. And it takes you back to a period piece. I think that's the magical thing about hip hop, right? Is that hip hop is constantly reinvents itself, constantly, pulls from other genres. But we can all kind of attest to the fact that when we think of hip hop, it comes from a certain period in which we were introduced to it.
Totally. Just like toys.
Just like toys.
No, you're absolutely right. There's that emotional nostalgic connection. Yeah. And I think compared to, we both teach high school, compared to like current high schoolers' existence, so much of our identity was wrapped up in those things, right? The music, like it's just different from them because I think they have access to free music at their fingertips, or free to them, right? To at any given point. So, but for us, it was like, nah, I'm hip hop. Oh, check this out, and you go digging to discover stuff. Now it gets fed to you by an algorithm. So hence the deep connection when we see this stuff and you're like, oh. So.
Yeah, it hits the nostalgia on a different level, right? Obviously, there's the nostalgia of the Super7 mold, right? And really seeing that and the toys that we remember growing up in, but now taking it to the level of like, remember hip hop though? Remember when you were introduced to it and what it felt like to see that music video?
So instead of I used to love her, I used to love TOY. Yeah, no, totally. You can get nostalgic. Here you got some, hey Kai. The Woo.
The Woo.
Can you explain to me what a ghost face killer is? No, that's okay. Yeah, man, look at Ghostface Killer right here.
Ghostface Killer.
KRS, right?
Wow, look at that. That's boogie down right there.
Yep, you got your BDP, and then they got other stuff, right? Classic Rock, Thin Lizzy. I don't know what it is with Super7, and I'm really curious because they have a thing for bass players, right? They've got the bassist from Thin Lizzy. There's a couple that are going to come up too. Oh, here you go.
Oof.
This is a newer one that they
Outcast.
announced, right?
ATLiens.
ATLiens, right?
Oh man.
So the thing with this is, if these do well, oh, this is my jam, man. As a kid, Devo was like it. It was like I said, Kiss was comics. Devo was like sci-fi weirdness, B-movie weirdness.
Right.
Here's an example of the bass player again, another bass player they did. They also did here you go, is another bass player. Oh no, not a bass player. I'm sorry. This is Johnny. My bad, but we'll get there later. Here you go. The bass player, Bootsy Collins. You got some Twisted Sister.
Wow. Oh, look at that Biggie.
B.I.G.
Wow.
Sorry, I got distracted, but what? Oh, here you go. Some newer stuff for you. They even got play sets, man. They got Czarface play sets.
Wow. See, they're going into that subculture. Czarface, that's a very particular taste. When I see these, it's like you can easily find these also being resold at record stores.
Oh,
right?
totally. It's a crossover for sure.
You go to a place that sells vinyl, they'll have these kind of things as well. Run the Jewels. Wow.
Yeah, right. LP getting. We were just talking about LP when we were camping.
Bobby
and Run
Digital.
Back into the this was like, they've got Iron Man in their lyrics. They got it all, and as well as like kung fu movies, right?
Yeah.
So like super nerds. Like when I first heard Wu-Tang and it was like hear what they're talking, I was like, wait, what's he talking? Oh, it was like all these pop cultural references. Yeah. And then when he freaking did his solo thing and created a character and was like, I want to get Bill Sienkiewicz to do the album cover.
Yeah,
dude, that's like some New Mutants artwork right there.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, so I'm getting distracted, but you can see like it's all here, man. It's like this is the whole music section.
It is.
So this is like the 5 points of articulation, super simple, based on Kenner Star Wars, old school figures. The thing is, like, these are kind of testing grounds. So this is like one of their main lines, which was really like their bread and butter for the longest time. It's a huge profit margin on these guys, right? Simpler engineering. It's just the licensing you got to worry about. And they charge a premium. These are not cheap. They're $25, $20. There's my jam right there. One of my heroes. But if they sell well, then they look into a bigger format, which is your 6.5, inch, Ultimates. 7-inch figure Ultimates. Right. So you'll see, like earlier, I scrolled by a Beastie Boys Sabotage reaction that did well. So then they work with the licensors, make sure that the guys want to do this, and they move into a bigger action figure. Do you ever check out Ghost? Is that a thing that was ever on your radar?
Ghost?
Newer artist. Yeah, newer sort of metal artist. I'm sorry. People are going to be mad at me for putting in quotes. It is metal.
No.
But definitely a much more exploratory, like fusing a lot of different stuff into it. In the tradition of a lot of those kind of like makeup kind of characters, like your, Alice Cooper's and your Kiss and your Marilyn Manson and who's a piece of human garbage. And all the others, right?
Would Slipknot be on there?
Sure, no, absolutely.
Mudvayne.
Yes, the name alone.
Gwar. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.
Thank you, Gwar. There are Gwar action figures coming, but yes, that's very much in that vein. And there's a whole character, and the band is like kind of a rotating cast of folks, and there's also drama in the band. But and you can see there's very much this like sort of social commentary on social control and like cult of personality and cults in general and religion, and but they've made a bunch of this character. So here you go. This is the one I've pre-ordered. Got my RZA Ultimates coming in because he's gonna slot right in with He-Man, fight some stormtroopers.
Essential Bobby Digital sound.
Yep. You got your Motorhead Lemmy, again, another bass player. But it's a trip, man. Like the crossover of music, and it's not just the people themselves; it's the album art.
Oh, yes. Look at that.
So like toys
That's
are
quintessential Slayer.
like you said it, like, oh, I could see these being sold in record stores, and I think that's it. So when Super7 started going into what I would call like mass market retail IP, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, to me that's
Mhm.
when it got a little hairy for them because it brought in a whole other audience, which is great. They expanded and got a bunch of toy collectors, right? Who were like, yeah, those little 3.75, 5 points of articulation, that's cute. But like, we're serious toy collectors, and I want new versions of my Ninja Turtles and all this. So it first started with the
Mhm.
Masters of the Universe thing. And with that comes nerds,
Yeah.
hardcore nerds who have expectations and demands and a level of entitlement and this sense of
Nerd demand.
under yep, understandably they love the thing. So like, don't ruin my childhood kind of a thing, right? While that's happening, they don't understand this stuff. I've found often they're like, who's gonna want Beastie Boys figures? Who's gonna want a RZA figure? And they're like, what is
Mm.
a czar face? What, that's dumb. And it's like
Yeah.
what they don't often understand is that this is not for them. This is like for a whole other set of
Mhm.
nerds, music nerds, right?
Right.
Who are like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
want that. Toy collectors like, I'm not gonna get a $50 figure when I can get a $30 Hasbro. Yeah, I get it. But these are folks who are like, where else am I gonna get Beastie Boys memorabilia like this? Sure,
Yeah.
$55, yeah. That's just a thing that I often sort of encounter in conversations I have with people that just like
Mm.
don't totally get Super7. Check this out, man. Have you seen this ODB?
Oh, the ODB. Another one of my big regrets is like I didn't pull the trigger, and now look, we got that sold out. You know what
It's
that
sold out
means?
on the store, but you and I live here in the city, close enough to
We
San
can.
Francisco. We got to
Yeah.
go, man, because they often will have things pop up from the warehouse, like, oh yeah, we found some of these. I'm not sure if they have any ODB, but they still got a biggie. I've seen that. They
Ah,
definitely have Czarface, even though it's sold out here. Like these that are sold out here on the site are still available at the
that
shop
one. Oh
in
my
limited
gosh.
quantities.
So good.
Yeah, man, he's such a good
Look at
looking
that
figure.
scowl. Look at that
Mm-hmm.
scowl. Look, they got the cane.
Comes with 3 heads, comes with alternate hands, so you can do what you need to do. Yeah, man, I love this stuff. I am probably like I'm intrigued by the Czarface, but I'm like, because he's also like a character that could fit. That's my thing. It has to fit in with this weird genre thing that I've got going on.
Right.
Easy, right? Bobby
Yeah.
Digital easily slot in.
That works.
So this guy could, but I wasn't super into the actual toy. I've I was like, oh, it's cool, but it could be cooler. I'm tempted by this guy just because he's a badass, but
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't quite work. But he does come with, I don't know if you can clock those. Those are like these things right here. Those metal things are like kind of like brass knuckle. Like if he was punching you with steel skulls coming out of his
Oh,
fists.
what?
There's the fantasy of it,
Yeah. That's what we're getting from these figures is that you can blend. You can blend the
Yeah.
two, right? It's not like, oh, they look like realistic artists, but
Yep.
no, it's about the larger than life musician
Yep.
now embodied through like a toy, right?
And in many ways, for many people, it's a character. Like
Yeah.
there was a real person named Lemmy who in many ways acted and behaved as we saw him on stage and in
Mm-hmm.
video, but it's become a character. To wind this out and close up, give me three musicians or maybe characters related to those musicians, like album art or whatever, that you want to see Super7 or some other modern toy company do. We'll go
Sure.
back and forth. You give one, I'll give one. And I haven't thought about this myself either. So
Me first?
yeah, because I'm a dick. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I would like to see I think he's a character in his own right, and I think there's a fan base here in this region that would go crazy over it. Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Oh,
I think
Dell.
he would make for a really good action figure.
That's good. Because then again, you
Yeah.
could do the Super7 move and do like different variants. You could do side projects, right? You could do some
Deltron
Deltron.
3030.
Yeah.
You know?
You could do stuff from music videos.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Del was in Gorillas, yeah?
Del was the MC in Clint Eastwood. He was.
That's right.
He
I don't
was.
know that they could get that license, but that'd be another one. That'd be a cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, your
I
turn.
didn't mean to take that one off the table, but yeah, the Gorillas, that wasn't mine, but like that just connected it. And I was like, oh yeah. For me, let's see. For some reason, and it's because they're touring again, and I'm really keyed into them. The Mars Volta, and that would have to be a 2-pack. I can't just have one. I need Omar and Cedric. But these need, no offense, Super7, their articulation's like very limited. I need like a Mezco, highly articulated Omar and Cedric, especially Cedric, because at least younger Cedric, no offense, we all get old. But dude was like flying around. Yeah, I remember seeing Cedric really early on. I was still in Santa Barbara in his old band at the drive-in. That dude was like wiry and everything. So that, but again, you could do all sorts of accessories. So Super7 style with all the stuff that they come with. You could have like the head on a platter, like from D-Louse in the Comatorium. You could have, you could have the weird naked person that's climbing down the tree from Francis the Mute. You could have literal characters that they name from the concept record. Like I could totally see it. So Super7, where's my Mars Volta figures? Make it happen.
Yeah. Got it.
What you got?
Back to me. Okay, number 2, Mezco. It's got to be like being able to like get in there with the mic. The late great Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Oh, dude, that's right.
Dude, like imagine that with the photography that you showed earlier.
Yeah, I forgot you actually showed me earlier today when I was at your house. You showed me the Funko, right? You have a Funko.
The
Linkin Park.
Funko Pop was released, only bought through the Linkin Park store of that Reanimation album, which was like this massive remix tape with a bunch of like underground hip hop artists rapping to Linkin Park. It was crazy.
Right up your alley.
Yeah. So I would say Chester Bennington, frontman of Linkin Park, being
easily
able
my.
to
I've told you this before. He is my favorite part of that band. I really, really liked his voice and his presence on stage. Yeah. So what were the figures? What are we? Because they had different looks. They had what could be some things that they do.
Right. So if we're looking at different types of outfits, right? Linkin Park, when they first started with Hybrid Theory, with that weird martial arts with their first single, to them coming out in the very end of their career, more so kind of returning back to some metal roots, spike hair, stuff like that. It's just really cool to see like them kind of reinvent themselves throughout the ages.
It was like a robot on that cover of that remix album, right?
There was a mech robot.
That could be a thing. The Breaking the Habit video, of course, was dope. That animation was really cool.
There was the animation shell shaded. That's right.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a good one. It's a good one. Let me think. I don't know why I'm doing the freaking 2-packs, but I guess because I want to spend a lot of money. I'm gonna Black Star it. I'm gonna Black Star it. I'm gonna go. So give me a Mos Def and a Talib Kweli in all stages, even when Mos was no longer Mos. And there's a couple of different looks, so you could do just the straight up outfits because those guys had style. But and then like I would love to see accessories with like, because those guys used to be bookstore owners, right?
That's right.
And so they could just drop in come with a bunch of books. Can you imagine that? Like the Black Panther Party program in book form. What else would they have in there? Anything.
That's great.
Faces at the Bottom of the Well. Maybe some Bell Hooks books. Imagine like little books that they would come up with. Yeah, that would be dope. That's what I'd go with. Black Star, Talib, Kweli, and Mos Def.
That's great. All right, let's go. Okay. I think this just be really cool to see, just because I think their accessories would make for a really fun package. DJ Kool Herc.
Oh, originator.
Yeah.
The originator of the art form. One of two originators of DJing. Okay.
Yes. So what we're seeing is that house party. Jamaica.
The sound system.
The sound system, we're looking at the first turntables being used to juggle the beats around. You could play off of like that iconic Sedgwick experience that hip hop historians know about. I could see all that being like the blaring sound system. That would be at a record store for sure.
And accessories would be like, you know, different pieces of equipment,
Yep.
stacks of vinyl, which by the way is a thing. People do like 112 records now. And they have like techniques and stuff. Anyway, that would be great. DJ Kool Herc. Wow, the beginnings of the art form. Okay. Love it. Loops. He was the first to do loops too. Yeah, take the break beat.
He was.
And loop it.
He took the break beat.
Oh man, hip hop 101. Okay. Let me try and do something a little different from what I've chosen already. I was gonna say Tom Morello. I should just do that as an honorable mention because that would be dope. And by the way, and you imagine like by getting these figures, you could create like side projects or like ultimate bands where they all kind of get together and play sets would be stages. The Lollapalooza play. No, okay. So
that's a wrap.
The all ages.
Because you know we're too old
Gilman
for
Street
a concert.
Yeah.
Gilman Street.
I could do that one myself. Let's see. Prince Rogers Nelson.
Yeah. Hands down.
Come on. He'd be a smaller figure, a smaller scale figure. No. Yeah, no, and talk about like different variants, man. You've got like looks for days. Like you could do different album covers, different periods.
Don't forget the Batman album.
Bat Dance. Yeah, Prince figure would be great, but a more realistic version in the vein of Ultimates would be dope. Would definitely need to be like a thinner buck. You know, some of these guys tend to be a little bit on thick and they kind of reuse some of this stuff, but oh man, that'd be so cool. And you do
would your figure have a motorcycle though?
Sheila, what's that?
Your figure you gotta have a motorcycle.
And it's like a gross touring machine that's gigantic and purple that like anyway, sorry. I'm gonna get the biker community angry at me. Last one.
Oh, me? Was that 3?
Wait, that was 3. We did 3. We each did 3.
Hey!
Okay, yeah. Well done. Thank you for playing the game. All right. Speaking of musicians, unlike me, I kind of like I'm not working on current music. You go back to the music every now and then. And this is joizzal, aka Joal, aka Joal, jumping off analytical lyricism.
Yes,
still repping the DC. I see.
On a rando tip, before we talk about the music and the journey, the remix album cover was designed by that guy up here, who helped design my cover.
How long
has a very
ago
metal
was that,
feel.
though?
Oh man, it was. I don't even remember.
So this was actually when WonderCon was still in San Francisco at the Moscone Center before they moved down to Orange County.
That's right.
It was the year that they were promoting this new show that many people didn't know about, but hardcore fantasy people knew about, some like Game of Thrones thing, right? And there was this throne that you could sit on. And it was like, I don't know what this is, but it's cool. It's a bunch of swords. And we were there for a while taking pictures. And this is one of the pictures like, dude, you got to use that for a thing. So I totally gave him the metal logo.
It's perfect.
Nearly unreadable JOAL with a like Carabao infused.
It pays to have friends who do graphic design. Like you are so invaluable to my life and to the movement we were part of.
Yeah. So let folks know what they will find here and kind of like what inspires and fuels your musical side.
Well, without sounding cliche, I think really like my love for music is rooted in kind of the love of just creating content, being able to express myself in various phases of my life. So anyways, what you'll find here is really kind of like a mix of fun stuff, a mix of me talking about serious topics. You know, I've known this guy since forever. We've known each other on the nerd tip. We've known each other as musicians, have played on the similar bill, but we've also been politically involved and you know, developed ourselves politically and understanding the world together.
Yep.
And so you'll find a good mix of stuff. So, you know, stuff in relating to the state of the world. There's a song called America that has a silhouette of Donald Trump that was literally like recorded as kind of like a piece that helped me process around his inauguration. There's songs about me and fatherhood. There's a song called Andrew Bogut. And for folks that don't know who Andrew Bogut is, he was the center for the 2015 Golden State Warriors. And despite the fact that he is not Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, he is a role player that plays a huge role in that championship run. And so this is a song about me talking about being Andrew Bogut of the team. Mom is Steph Curry. Mom's always going to be the MVP.
Cute.
And so it's me about grappling around my role and the role I had to play in being Andrew Bogut. I spent a good amount of time trying to share my lyrics on there. There's another funny one about me just rapping about video games. So there's a song called Blackwater, and it's a song where I'm, you know, embodying myself as a character from Red Dead Redemption 2. And if you don't know anything about Blackwater, you know, anything about Blackwater is like the place you don't want to get to. It's where the heist goes wrong and no one wants to go back to Blackwater. So it's about that.
It's great. It's like pulling from all your influences. You're geeky about music in general, right? You're geeky about politics and like the state of the world. You're geeky about being a dad and family, and you know, and that way being geeky about what's happening in our, you know, land of origin, the Philippines, and our culture, and kind of like the state of Filipinos here in the United States.
Indeed.
Geeky about games. It's cool. It's all in there. So check it out, folks. Yeah, man.
This is fun.
Yeah, we're nerdy. We got to hang out, which we don't do nearly enough, even though like literally he's about maybe 8 minutes, 12 minutes of driving away from me. And
right. That's right.
2 kids each, the whole family thing. We're both educators. So, you know, sometimes teachers get busy. So yeah, but still, this is dope, man. This is I'm glad that you were able to jump on and check out this whole other thing that I'm starting to do. I guess I've been doing it'll be 2 years in August on my birthday, August 14th, 2022 is when I started. Been a good ride. So thank you for joining me. And I hope you had fun. Thank you for taking the time. Appreciate you for being here.
Appreciate you.
And here, this is where I like try and do high production. About that time. Well, we got to kind of wind things down. So I guess you guys are in the future, July 7th. I'm still way back in June 18th. As you know, it's been pre-recorded because I've been traveling. But I'm getting home very soon. And so I will be back here next week. What would that be? July 14th. And I'll be hanging out with Carlos of the Badass Reviews. And we'll be talking toys. So see you then next Sunday, 3:45 right here. I'm Brick Something, and this has been joizzal, aka JOAL, aka Jumping Off Analytical Lyricism. Go check out the music. We've been nerding out and have just designed all sorts of new music-based toy lines. So look out for those in a couple years. All right, folks. Thank you all so much for checking out the Brick Something News. Click, like, subscribe, all of those things. And I usually just say peace, power, and whatever. That's it. So, yeah, goodbye.